Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sports Dynasty NFL. I'm Trevor, and this is Juan. Today we have a special show for you guys. Representing Week 14, we have Rally Sports
Tower Sports.
Yeah, Rally Tower Sports. I'm sorry about that. Damn.
We probably should practice this before.
Yeah, I
know. Good.
I'm
Happy to be here, gentlemen.
How you doing, guys, gentlemen? That's
we're
good.
Fantastic.
Let's get it. We got Bobby Todd here, part of Rally Tower Sports, who also partners like we do with Mafia Sports Report with Tommy, who we usually are with in the AFC Shakedown episodes, unfortunately, every Saturday at 6 p.m. Judging on what he's wearing in his head, you hear why I'm saying unfortunately.
Yeah, I see it. I saw it. I remembered as soon as I logged in, I saw y'all. I saw the Patriots hat, and I thought, Tommy don't
Everybody's
like
got their flaws. It's okay.
Dude. Yeah, my jersey's over there hanging. I'm not even trying to put that on right now. F that.
He's got that right jersey in the background, though. That's the real thing.
I do have that right jersey in the background. He's the only thing that makes me happy in the NFL today, man. Only thing.
Yeah, he's been playing out of his mind these last couple of weeks.
Insane. But we are actually going to talk about playoff implications for the AFC mostly before we get into Week 14 and the very small slate that it is, with 6 teams being on a bye all at the same time, and the Thursday night game is happening in about 45 minutes. You know, I always gotta break the fourth wall because that's what I do. Sorry. So 12 games we're gonna go through, and half of them I don't think aren't very pleasant, but hey, we're going to give you the insight, and we're going to give you all about the betting numbers also. Something that Rally Tower Sports also does very well themselves.
That's right.
Love it. We're a bunch of degenerates over there.
There you go. All right. Before we start, since this is a new channel, how about you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us about yourselves. Tell us what you guys do about, what you do. The floor is yours.
Cool. So Bobby and I actually started Rally Tower Sports 18 months ago now, right? So my son's 21 months old. So that means about 18 months ago, we started doing this thing. And we actually started it as a baseball podcast, believe it or not. So Bobby and I went from literally kindergarten to college together, right? So we've known each other for 25 years, something crazy.
We knew each other for 10, so you got us beat by double. Good job.
So
they still got us beat by double.
So when Bobby and I were in college, we'd sit around and drink, and we'd have these really in-depth conversations about football and basketball and baseball, and we're just grilling each other, right? And we're like, we got to do this shit for other people. We got to start doing this for other people. What are we doing just beating ourselves up? And then after my son was born, I had this moment for me. I was like, I got to do this thing. I got to give him something when dad's old and disheveled, be like, hey, look at your old man. And look what he knew back in the day when you were just really little and doing this shit. And fortunately for us, we had a connection with Corey because Corey also grew up with us, right? We lived 2 minutes from each other growing up, which is
we were
absolutely
neighbors,
crazy.
him and I.
Yeah. And he was doing Line to Gain, his own football podcast, and he was doing it himself, right? Running solo 1 to 2 nights a week, and was crushing it, man. I mean, the amount of viewership that he had for doing a solo podcast was insane. And we started following each other, kind of reconnected. And he was like, why are we not doing this together? And the rest is history, man. And we had Tommy. Tommy was actually our second guest that we ever had on Rally Tower Sports. And then about 5 or 6 months ago, he hit us up and he was like, I need you guys on my channel. We need something a little bit different. We need something that is not specifically like AFC or Buffalo or anything like that. We just need like normal dudes to come on and just talk sports. We do that every week. We drink a lot of beer. And I think that the staple of our podcast is everything we do in terms of like how we earn money and the parlays and the best that we do. Usually 50% or more goes to charity. So just for the 2022 calendar year, we've actually raised $2,300 between, 4 guys networking family and friends and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
I could speak for all four of us that it's the thing that we're most proud of in doing this. And obviously, like beating guys like you and connecting and building this thing is insane. But for me specifically, we're getting ready to do another charity event. Obviously, with it being bowl season, we're gonna try to do a little bowl pick'em, and 50% of it's going to go to the Great Lakes Parkinson's Foundation, which is close to me because my mom has Parkinson's disease. So, I got the opportunity to give back to something that is near and dear to my heart. So, without this platform, we don't get the chance to do that and grow it. So it's an awesome opportunity to come on here and do this.
Well said.
I didn't think that I would hear all this and just get straight butterflies in my stomach and just want to clap. Like, that was so wonderful.
Thank you, man. We love this thing. We love this.
He's extremely eloquent when he wants to be.
That was absolutely sensational. To the point where maybe we should just end the podcast right now, put it as an ad, and then let everybody go on.
Hey, don't let me get any beers. That eloquence turns into a little arrogance. So don't let me get beers then.
Not bad. All right. That is how Rally Tower Sports does. Wonderful, guys, as you as clearly just heard, charity work.
That's wonderful.
God, you don't hear that.
Charity beer and sports, baby.
That's it. That's the motto. Charity beer sports.
Charity beer and sports. All right. So how about you tell us, you guys, your favorite teams? It's obvious for one of them. But
yeah, no. So I'm a Cincinnati Reds baseball fan, Pittsburgh Steelers football fan. College sports is kind of whatever for me. I enjoy watching them. I don't necessarily declare myself to any one specific university. But yeah, those are really my two main passions. For basketball, I mean, it's professional for me. I love watching pro ball, and then college, the tournament. That's what gets me going. So. I mean, I could answer for Todd. Bengals, Reds, and UK all day.
Cincinnati. That's how I was born. That's how I'm not going to go out, man. I think it's funny because for Bobby and I and Corey too, we grew up in the worst part of the Bengals era, right? I was born in 1991, and I had to deal with the Achilles Smith Bengals, right? The John Kitna Bengals, the early Carson Palmer Bengals, the in between Palmer to Dalton Bengals. So, I've lived in this world of pain my whole life of being a sports fan and until last year, right? So it's exactly, you're right. That man that you're pointing behind you and Joe Burrow. So it's crazy being a Bengals fan because I've got to see how tight the community is, because I think that's an important thing to bring up. But the other thing I'm going to bring up is how big the bandwagon is for Bengals fandom. That's the thing that I've learned through all of this, is that 2 years ago, people that I used to try to talk to sports about had no idea what was going on in the Bengals world. And now they're reaching out to us like, oh, you're going to talk about this and this and this. I'm like, bro, you don't know anything. You're only watching because they're winning. That's it. That's the crazy thing about football. I love it. Like, I love the community that football brings, but Cincinnati, unfortunately, at its roots are full of bandwagon fans, which it's big enough right now. Everybody come in, we'll support you, but you got to stick around if the well runs dry.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for Steelers fans, at least in my era growing up. I mean, it was Cordell Stewart and Tommy Maddox for a long time.
Hey, you bite your tongue about Cordell Stewart. He's a talent of a generation.
No, we loved Cordell, but we obviously got success in my lifetime a little bit earlier than you saw it, at least from a football perspective. And as baseball fans, we've just been miserable for 32 years. So it's depressing.
Never seen a playoff win for the – actually, so as a Cincinnati sports fan, last year was my first playoff win I've ever seen.
He's right, because the Reds haven't won a playoff game in like –
Nope, they went. They got swept by the Giants. They went, but they got swept.
Yeah, I'm saying
and the Phillies.
And the Phillies.
And the Braves.
And the Braves. Yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest thing from a baseball perspective, not to get too far off topic, I mean, the Reds just need to get rid of the Castellini family, and they'll start seeing some success. There's just a absolutely terrible ownership.
Usually where it starts on franchises.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, we are all. I mean, it's a big week for us this week as far as just the AFC North in general. So I'm excited to see how it all shakes out. Sunday at at 4 o'clock, it's gonna tell us a lot about the shape of the playoff picture.
Dang right. We're gonna talk about it in the show too. It's gonna be fun.
Let's
One
get it.
quick story I have about the Cincy, because you mentioned like you guys are like, you didn't say family, but you guys like band together in your community. I was coming home, I think last year from Cincinnati, when they played Green Bay, I believe.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny because the entire airport kind of was in the mix about that specific game. And even on the airport, before we boarded off, the pilot took the time out of his day to mention the unfortunate results of that game, which is the overtime loss. You know,
Yeah,
when
24-21
Mason Crosby decided to
overtime
kick field
loss.
goals after missing like 5 of them in that game. But I'm like, even the freaking airport and the airport staff talk about this game. It's like that over here in Ohio.
Yeah,
Like,
CVG's a Cincinnati community, man. You might have to cross the bridge to get to the airport, but that's a Cincinnati airport, man.
Yeah.
It's big. The family's big, dude, because you got to think when you look at Cincinnati, the Cincinnati fan base. Obviously, you know, Bobby and I live in Columbus, so we're kind of in the middle of it. But you know, if you go, you have to go 2 hours west to watch a Colts game. And if you live south of Cincinnati, you got to drive down to Nashville to see a Titans game, right? So if you live anywhere, Lexington up to like really just south of Columbus, it's really a lot of just Cincinnati sports. And it's the only thing that they show, right? So if you, like I did growing up for a little bit of my life, didn't have cable TV and only had local channels, that was your only option on Sunday was to watch the Bengals. And you just, you learn the names. I mean, if I don't know how you guys are, but you know, I've said it before on our podcast. I'm a statistic nerd, right? Like that's how I get down. That's how I follow sports. And you know, I would count the seconds that it would take Jeff Blake to call a play when I was little, because he literally would take every second off the play clock for every single snap. And as you watched the kind of the Bengals fan base, when they would watch Jeff Blake, would be so frustrated because the drive would be 7 minutes and it would be like 8 plays and 35 yards. It's nuts.
Clock management was not his specialty.
No.
Sound like the Patriots offense this year.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Mac Jones is a great time clock manager. I've said that since they drafted him.
Yeah. It's about, I was referring more towards the 8-9 plays for 35 yards in the punt. But yeah, anyway. Why don't we hit the AFC now, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's hit it.
Are the standings, or at least the standings that matter. I won't go all the way down. So we have the Buffalo Bills, took forever, but they finally got back the first seed at 9-3. We have the Kansas City Chiefs with them, but Buffalo has a tiebreaker, both also at 9-3 at second seed. Baltimore Ravens are 8-4, going to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tennessee Titans 7-5 at the fourth. Bengals are at the first wild card spot at 8-4 also. So is the Dolphins 6 seed 8-4. The New York Jets hold the 7th seed at 7-5, and that's the seed we're mainly going to talk about today because there's a war. The Patriots and the Chargers are 8 and 9 seed, both with a 6-6 record, only one game behind, and the Patriots have a heavy tiebreaker on the Jets being swept by them somehow. We know why. The Raiders are only one game behind them with 5 and 7 at 10 seed. The Browns are also the same record at 11 seed at 5 and 7, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are also 5 and 7 at 12 seed. I ain't go lower than that. Colts in them don't matter.
You kept it off at the right spot.
Yeah, that's okay. We're not talking about the top of the draft. We're just
I appreciate you including the Steelers, but I don't think the Steelers are in this playoff picture, but I appreciate you including them.
Damn, like he's not even trying to entertain.
I mean, they're
go to the schedule or nothing. I want like nothing.
We'll get to it. Like they're mathematically they're in it.
Because I remember we went through it very quickly. I think last episode. I mean, the 9-8 don't sound stupid.
We did. I was saying that they could actually bullshit a 9-8 record if things go right. Like that's the
going right. It's going right so far.
The winning season streak for Tomlin is still alive. Like
it is. So why don't we start with the Jets, who currently hold the 7th seed? All right, this is their remaining schedule coming up, and the quarterback, as of right now, what we know going forward is Mike White.
Yep,
Mike White. They have to go to Buffalo this Sunday, huge game. Then going home to play Detroit Lions, who are in a pretty hot streak right now, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, both at home. Then they travel to Seattle at week 17 and at Miami at week 18. So let's start with what are we thinking in terms of wins and losses in that 5-game stretch?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously they've got a tough matchup this week with Buffalo. Buffalo and Josh Allen mainly. He's got a chip on his shoulder this week, considering the outcome of that first matchup that they had. Now
he got hurt in.
Yeah, so obviously the Bills took an L, and that the Jets were able to take one, which nobody saw coming. But the Jets defense has played really well. Shout out to them. They've had a really nice season and put it together and kept New York in a lot of games that they really shouldn't have been in. Now you said they got the Bills. They're headed to Detroit and then out to Seattle. I'm sorry, Jacksonville and then Seattle and then
and then finish TBD with the Dolphins.
I think if they want a shot, they've got to win. They've got to win 4 of these 5. I just don't see it happen. I don't see him winning this week. I don't see him beating Miami. The Lions game's a toss up. Lions have been on fire. So I would say that that running game, Jamal Williams, he's been insane. For Detroit these last couple weeks.
More touchdowns to Russell Wilson. We like to talk about Russell Wilson and how bad he is on our podcast. More touchdowns to Russell Wilson and all of Denver. I just want to point that out. Yeah. Sorry, Bobby, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, it's a great stat. We always like to give Russell Wilson a hard time.
We always allow funny here. Funny is very
we did have a special spot on our show last night. It was a 2-minute spot for Russell Wilson and the positive things that Russell Wilson has done in his career. Corey lost a bet, so he had to do it. But that's the only reason we did it. But no, I mean, I think a realistic win-loss for the Jets. I think it's going to be 2 wins, 3 losses. I think they beat Seattle. I think they can take it in Jacksonville. I think they beat Seattle and Jacksonville, and I think they lose to the Bills, the Lions, and the Dolphins. That's my take, Todd.
So a 9-8 record. You're going with the Jets to finish off.
Right. Yep. So I don't think that's super far fetched, right? I'm obviously I think Buffalo, as Bobby said, this is a redemption week for Josh Allen. We talked about it. It's the UCL injury existed within that first Jets game. Last week was the first time where he threw the ball and he looked fairly comfortable since he's had that injury, at least from my perspective of watching him throw the ball. This is the fifth best defense in the NFL in New York, guys. Defense. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how young they are on that side of the ball and how much they limit everyone inside their division, but also all the opponents that they played. Right? I mean, we saw Justin Jefferson hit 7 for 45 last week. That's the lowest total that he's had in the 2022 season, and that was being covered by obviously the third overall pick in Sauce Gardner, but that was a rookie that held him to 45 yards, right? And we've watched them do that week over week, just shut down or at least slow down the best player on the other side of the ball. And
has Sauce given up a touchdown yet?
That was his first touchdown that he gave up was to Jefferson. Yeah, it's the first touchdown that he's given up since his junior year of high school.
It's bound to happen at some point, but it had to be just Jefferson in week 13.
Yeah, and it was a 7-yard touchdown or a 9-yard touchdown pass. It wasn't anything crazy, and he fought J. Jeff in the end zone one-on-one, and Justin Jefferson's just 2 inches taller and can dunk on an 11-foot rim. You just don't win that battle most of the time. But I mean, guys, I could see the Jets going 3-2 through this thing and finishing the season 10-7 and securing a wild card spot.
That's what I'm leaning towards too.
So I think Bobby's right. I think this week they lose to Buffalo. I don't know if they have the juice to go into Buffalo and face Bills Mafia and also Josh Allen. Right, that's the big thing, is that fan base is going to be hungry for a dub against the Jets. The Lions, I think, give them a run for a money, but if we know anything about Detroit football, everything ends in heartbreak for them. So we're gonna see a heartbreak loss, especially in East Rutherford there. Jacksonville, it is what it is. I'm happy they've won 4 games. I think that's kind of the run for them. Now you fight for your top 5 spot. Seattle, I think, is probably the worst 7-5 team in the NFL. I think that all the juice that they've had kind of going through the season starting to falter out, very similar to the New York Giants. And then I'm really, really interested for this last game against Miami in South Beach, because I think this becomes the Sunday night game. And I actually think that there's a chance that 3-2 turns into 4-1 against the Dolphins. I could see them going into South Beach and hitting a lick on them and climbing up into the second wild card spot, and the Dolphins falling into that third wild card spot. That's my bold prediction for the end of the season. But if we've watched anything from Tua, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, is that he has a hard time with a good defense. And I just said it, this is the 5th best defense in the NFL. So I think this will be a tough challenge for him.
So, I mean, are we going to put a little wager on that? Are you saying you're taking the Jets over the Dolphins?
I know I haven't said that yet.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
I said that's my bold prediction, but I'm not committing to anything. I'm a man of logic. I'm just saying that's
He's pressing you already. 5 weeks
I'm just
away. He's pressing you already.
Here's the thing: if they win 3 of 4 and they're hot and they're winning games handedly, those next 3 before that, I feel a little bit more comfortable with it. But obviously, if they struggle with Jacksonville and Seattle going into that, maybe my opinion's a little bit different. And I think y'all said it. I mean, who is Mike White? Right. So we've seen him do the same thing 2 years in a row. Come in that first game. Obviously, last year was the victory over the Bengals, where he came in and threw for like 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then we saw him do it again last week, throw for 300, or 2 weeks ago, throw for 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, and just absolutely carve up the defense. And then last week we saw him not be able to put 2 goal line drives together against Minnesota's defense. So you just have no idea what you're getting from him.
Makes sense. I hear what you're saying, though. I feel that they can go 3-2 or 2-3, but there's a game in that 5-game stretch that I feel that is going to decide whether they get it or not. We spoke this on our own show, the Seattle game. I know you guys are not really so sold on them. You feel like the gas is running out for them already. I think that Seattle game will decide whether or not they're going to make the playoffs or not. I do feel that they'll finish the season 9-8. For the most part, probably winning the next 2, going 2 and 3 in that span. But I think that Seattle game is going to decide whether or not they make the playoffs or not. I think, honestly.
Because in that stadium, that's where we're going to see, assuming Mike White is still the quarterback at that point, that's where we're going to see it. Because although that defense has took a decent nosedive in the last 3 weeks or so, since their bye week, actually, since that Raiders game when they lost to Josh Jacobs by himself.
Josh Jacobs. They lost to Josh Jacobs. That's correct.
By himself. Like, everybody else did not matter. It was Josh Jacobs. 300 plus yards by one guy is absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
But that is where we're going to see, because playing in that crowd, it may not be the same Legion of Boom teams we've seen, 10 years ago, but that crowd is still monstrous. And for a limited quarterback like Mike White, is really going to test how decent he can be.
Sure, that's a 12th man. Yeah,
we can get out of there alive.
It's a great point, because like a guy like that who's not seasoned, like you have to be one with everybody on that offense, like, because there's no verbal communication. It's hand signals. It's being like having your shit together before you get out of the huddle. And if they have to make changes at the line, that's not something that a young quarterback or an inexperienced quarterback especially thrives in. So I mean, that environment is definitely huge.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. That's the hardest stadium to go in and win when you don't know how to win in the NFL.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, so especially since Seattle, technically they're still in contention, so they're allowed to play for, and the crowd's going to be really rallying behind them. That's the game that I'm circling. That okay, if they can win this game, they have a good shot. But me personally, I think the Jets just barely miss out at 9-8. I feel like they're barely going to miss out. But then again, who knows? Mike White is riding the wave right now here right in New York. So it's like, hey, if he can get into the playoffs and snap that drought, he's good over here at least.
And someone is gone.
And someone is gone. Yeah,
someone is gone. But yeah, I like 9-8, but I can see a world, and I'm in between the 9-8 and 10-7. It's that Seattle one, to me, like you said, that's the one I'm gonna wait for, because I think they'll most likely go 2-1 in this 3-game stretch. It's just that Seattle one. If they could take that one, the sky's the limit for them. And
Yeah.
a season that no one saw coming, but very, very, very biased Jets fans. An 11 or 10 win season. Huh.
That's crazy.
If you would have told me that they were vying for a playoff spot at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed at you.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Whoever's the we would have called dumbasses who bet that. Well, they're cashing out lovely. All right, we'll get this over with very fast because next are the New England Patriots. All right, so yeah, I'm still not happy, as you can see. So they have to go to Arizona this Monday night, then at Las Vegas on their 2-game Western trip, then at home hosting that guy in Burrow and Tua in back-to-back weeks. Then they have to go to Buffalo when we know they will get destroyed. So that's a loss right there. So their chances in making the playoffs, we already announced that the season is over.
Yeah.
Already. But we have to do this just to keep in some perspective. But we're going to tell you the same thing. We've said it in the last 2 episodes. The season's over. I'll be surprised if New England wins 3 games out of the 5. I'm counting 2. I don't think they're winning more than 2. So I think the season's over. This offense is too anemic. There's no possible way they're going to be winning 3 out of 5 in our opinion.
They've got a tough schedule to wrap the season out. That's for sure. I mean, we actually talked about this last night. I think the Patriots are going to win tomorrow night. I don't think this is a game that they struggle with because the Cardinals they're in shambles at this point. The Raiders game's a coin flip. It's which Derek Carr are we going to get? Or is Josh Jacobs going to have to put the team on his back?
I called them the roller coaster of the AFC because we called the roller coaster of the NFC's the Saints. You don't know what Saints team you're going to get week to week. I stay away from them bastards when it comes to my money and betting. I don't because you never know. The Raiders have become that for the most part.
Yeah, the Saints have 1 week they'll have the best defense in the NFL.
Andy Dalton will throw for like 250 and 2 touchdowns, and
then the next week they have less than 250 yards of total offense, and everything just falls apart for them. You're right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
But yeah, I mean the last 3 games to wrap out the Patriots season. I mean those are just straight L's. I mean the Bengals are too hot right now. I don't see a world in which that Bengals defense allows more than maybe 10 to 14 points. The Bengals defense has just been absolutely unbelievable. Getting towards the back half of this season. The Dolphins, I think Tua is too talented, and I don't think the Patriots defense is solid enough to contain him and that slot of receivers. And then you got the Bills. The Bills game's kind of a toss-up. If the Bills clinch, I don't know if they play everybody. So that game could go either way.
Because that was asked by us. Tommy said the same thing. And we said, and I'm going to pretend he's in front of me. And I pointed at him and I said this. I said, you motherfuckers, y'all went through 20 years of straight stompage. If you have a chance to put your foot down our throats, you're going to take it no matter what. Even if it's just for a half.
That's a good point.
They'll put up 30 on a half and stop, and
then just sit everybody.
I don't think they're gonna sleep on that game.
But yeah,
depending on Kansas City, they may still have to win that game. But even though I don't think they'll ever let a game with my team, they're never gonna let it go. They're gonna do it bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think best case scenario for the Pats, this 5-game stretch is 2-3, and you got to take the first 2 against the Cardinals and the Raiders. I think they're realistically going to be 1-4. I think they win Monday night, and then I think it's 4 straight L's to wrap out the season. And Belichick's going to be trying to figure out what he's going to do next year. So,
the crazy thing is that I think the thing that Belichick does best with his defense is he exposes weak spots. Right? True. He's good at getting the most vulnerable player on the field, which. For a lot of times when they're playing in the AFC for this year, there's a big disparity in the quarterback position, right? We talked about that a lot on our podcast, the drop from the S tier quarterback to the next level. But 3 of these 5 games, you're facing the top 8 quarterbacks in the NFL, right? That's the big thing. You got to face Burrow, you got to face Tua, and you got to face Josh Allen, and you have to face them back to back to back. And oh, by the way, you got to face the Bills right after they play the Bengals in Cincinnati. And if Cincinnati wins that game and they win the first 2 prior to that, the Bills are fighting for the 2nd seed, which is important in the AFC because when you get to that 3rd seed in the AFC and you got to start playing wild card teams, you're talking about them playing Miami again, or the Jets again, or Baltimore. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen when you get into that scenario, and it becomes a lot more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to say it, but I think this is a 1-4 stretch for New England.
You ain't telling us nothing different than you said, man.
I think Kyler Murray is one of the biggest frauds in the NFL. I think he's the most overpaid quarterback in the NFL right now. That's my opinion.
I would love to get paid that amount of money to be shitty at my job.
And the thing is, he's been shitty this year, and he doesn't do anything that shows me that he wants to take it to the next level, which is obvious based on how we found out how his initial contract was structured. Oh, yeah. But the thing about Kyler, and I'll get back on the AFC stuff, is that we watched him last year be talked about in the MVP conversation, right? Yeah. You guys remember that they started 8-0, and he was playing insane football, throwing for 300 yards, on the ground for 70, 3 to 5 touchdowns a game. And since then, I think that he's thrown almost as many interceptions. What was the stat? He's thrown as many interceptions in his last 12 games than he did in his first 2 years.
Really?
And that's including his rookie year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's actually regressed.
And that don't even include fumbles. So imagine that.
Yeah. So yeah, my big thing is I think Belichick figures out a way to slow down Las Vegas some, but there's just, you're not going to be able, with the way that Vegas is moving the ball now, you're not going to be able to stop Devontae and Josh Jacobs. You're going to have to pick your poison on what you're going to slow down. So I think that game's close, especially with it being in Las Vegas. And then the last 3 are just, it's each team is fighting for a specific position, and outside of Buffalo just going, I agree with they're gonna put their foot on the throttle and they're gonna go as fast as they can to the end of the year, because you're right, they've spent the last 2 decades just getting shit on by the Patriots, right, year in and year out, and laughed at in the AFC East and made fun of, and they're not getting made fun of anymore. So I think that this is their opportunity to pop the balloon and let the rain fall out. But
like that bully in middle school that picks on the little kid, then it gets to high school and the little kid's now the big kid.
Basically.
Yeah. So I'm thinking 1-4, guys.
About the New England. Not only are they playing top quarterbacks, every team that they've been playing has a top receiver. DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, the 60 receivers that the Bengals have, like Tua and Waddle, if Waddle's assuming he's healthy, and then Stephon Diggs, who already destroyed them. It's just no. And I'm depressed. Let's talk about the Raiders. All right. They are 2 games behind in the 7th seed, but there's a chance if they doing their thing. They're about to play in a few minutes. They'll most likely beat the Rams. They got the Patriots. They can win that game. If that happens, that closes the gap, and they're right in it. So let's talk about that. We already talked. They most likely going to win tonight. I'm guessing we are going to pick them to win tonight.
If you're picking the Rams right now, you must know something that nobody else knows.
I forgot again and do the pick'ems. Shit. I said it right here that I picked the Raiders. So because we do our pick'ems, right? I lost the point because I forgot to do it last Thursday too, and I was almost perfect last week.
He would have won this week had he picked
and I would have picked Buffalo. I would have.
Mind you, they finished in the tie, but because he lost because of a tiebreaker.
What type of trophy is that, dude? That's insane.
To his own brother, too. To my
own brother, yes. I lost to him. Yeah,
that's the stuff that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, where am I at right now? What am I doing with myself?
So after this, you're gonna hear the picks today anyway.
Yeah.
But I picked the Raiders.
That's right. I heard it. I can vouch for you.
8 minutes to spare.
Yeah, exactly. 15 is the cutoff.
You got 8 minutes. Okay. Timestamp it. 8:07.
Right.
I got it.
Just send in the group chat. Say, hey, I got the Raiders tonight.
No, all right.
But yeah. So
sorry. So let's finish off. So they actually play Pittsburgh in the third game. That's huge. Then San Francisco and Kansas City. That's evil. Just to finish off the season. Whew, even with Purdy, that's still evil.
The AFC schedule is going into the last 5 weeks of the season, man. So far, it's a tough go. It's gonna be a lot of good games coming up in the next couple weeks. But I mean, yeah, the Rams are disheveled. So the Raiders should handle them tonight. So for my 5-game stretch here, 1, 2. I really see them potentially winning, going 3-2 in this stretch. I think they win tonight. I think they've got a good opportunity against the Patriots. The Raiders-Steelers game, that's a coin flip. I think the Steelers defense probably does a nice job shutting them down. It's can they handle Devontae Adams, because the Steelers secondary has been their biggest liability on defense this season. So can we shut down Jacobs and then somehow get lucky in the pass game? So that's going to be a tough one. Really, I mean, 49ers and Chiefs, I think they get absolutely stomped in those games. So I would say 3-2 best, 2-3 at the worst. So they're either good. It's the Steelers Raiders game that's going to make or break their winning record in these last 5 games for me personally.
The Raiders aren't really playing bad football right now, right? So
playing good football.
Outside of losing to Jeff on Jeff Saturday's debut, they beat the Broncos in overtime. That was a tough win for them, but they just wore down Denver's defense because they were on the field for 65 minutes of a 70-minute football game.
My Lord.
Obviously, we talked about Josh Jacobs, what he did to Seattle. Josh Jacobs beat the Seahawks, and then last week beating the Chargers. Right? I think that was a big game. That was a foundation game for them, specifically in the AFC West, where if you're vying for that wild card spot, you got to be second in your division, because you're not gonna beat somebody from the East, and you're not going to beat somebody from the North, or at least the way that I see it right now. So. I honestly see them. I see them, obviously I think they win tonight. I just said it. I think they beat the Pats. I actually think that they lose to the Steelers though.
I'm with you too. I'm so high on the Steelers myself.
I'm willing to eat.
I love their defense right now, man.
Yeah,
their defense has me jacked up.
I'm willing to eat crow because I said I think that they wouldn't win 8 games. But I looked at their schedule before we started, and I was like, shit, I'm wrong. I think they're going to win 8 games.
I had them at 9. I'm so close.
And I picked this game as a win for them, right? So I'm not gonna vow away from that. I think that it'll be a real test for them, right? Because you're talking about a Christmas Eve primetime game. It'll be Kenny Pickett's first primetime game, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty important for.
He played Miami.
Oh shit, that's right. They did play Miami on Sunday night, didn't they? Or Monday night. So second primetime game, first time playing a defense that he could actually probably beat, right? Because I don't think he beats Miami's defense, and has
third. He played the Colts too. I just remember this coming on my head. I forgot that was Monday night. I didn't watch the game, but I remember.
Yeah, they played the Colts Monday night.
Oh, so yeah. I forgot that the Colts had 13 primetime games this year. I'm sorry.
I don't understand it either.
They were supposed to be a lot better than they are. So that's
them and the Broncos both. So third primetime game. So now it's a little less relevant now because he's been there a couple times. But it's the quantity of snaps for him is going to be important because I watch him every week and I watch him get better at making tight decisions and getting more people involved. It's a rough stat, but Deontay Johnson had 5 catches last week. That's a season high for him.
Yeah, George Pickens was also not happy with the distribution last week either.
Like if he played with Trubisky for almost half the season.
Yeah. So yeah, that to me that's the thing because he was hitting Pickens and Claypool before they traded. Obviously before now he's in Chicago and he was throwing the ball to Freiermuth 7 to 12 times a game. Has actually turned Pat Freiermuth into a top 6 fantasy tight end this year, thanks to Kenny Pickett. Yeah. But I think the quantity of snaps will help him as he gets into this game because I don't think Vegas has made all of the necessary steps to get better on defense either. They've always been a bend not break defense. That's kind of their mentality. They're going to force you to score points. They're not going to pressure you a lot. But George Pickens is quickly becoming one of the better athletes at the wide receiver spot. And I think you're going to continue to see him do pretty big stuff, especially in the primetime position. And then, those last 2 weeks, I mean, the 49ers beat Tua with Brock Purdy. I don't expect Derek Carr to beat Brock Purdy, and I just don't. And then, the Chiefs are just going to drop a 40 bomb on him. So it is what it is there.
Right, it might be time for that. We haven't seen that in a year. Chiefs are different, though. So we are going to go to the Chargers now, who are actually one game up on the Raiders in just the win column. These are their games. They have Miami on Sunday night. Then they have Tennessee, Indianapolis on Monday night. So right after Christmas. The Rams and Denver. Only 2 road games. Even though their home, quote unquote, is basically a road game. Or 2 official road games, which is at Indianapolis and at Denver to end the season.
They're paying. It's like paying rent for your side apartment because you don't want your girl to find out. That's what the Chargers are.
Trevor, Juan, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? What do you think for this? Todd and I have been like hogging all your time here.
Yeah.
So let's hear from you guys.
They took over the show. They're the leaders. All right. Go ahead, bro.
For the Chargers concerned, I truly believe that this is the end of Brandon Staley. I think he's out of here. He's terrible. To finally, again, they're in the position again where they're in playoff contention and during the final stretch of the games, and they'll find ways to lose games. Like for instance, last week to me was the camel that broke the trouble the camel's back for them. We losing to the Raiders. The way they lost to the Raiders last week, I'm like, oh yeah, he shouldn't. There's no way that he survives after this year. Like he's going to end up coaching him out of the playoffs like he did last year because he's an idiot. And then I don't see it happening at all whatsoever.
Like how y'all have Russell Wilson stuff, we have Brandon Staley stuff. He loves to destroy Brandon Staley.
I love to say Brandon Staley.
Hey, I like to feel about Pete Carroll too. So
that's how I feel about Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm with you.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Justin Herbert because it's like he deserves so much better than what he's having right now. The Spanos family just fight. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who's in charge, who's the GM. It doesn't matter. It's still gonna be trash. The fact that they have the worst run defense in the last 5 years can't stop me from running. Mind you, yeah. So it's unfortunate.
I love that. No, I think it's funny though because you're right. Brandon Staley should be fired, right? Everybody's talking about what Denver's going through, right, with Nathaniel Hackett and all that shit going on. But I think Brandon Staley's seat is the hottest of anybody in the NFL because you basically handed him everything that he's asked for, minus being able to stop any running back from running more than 100 yards a game. But you go out and draft your quarterback, right? Justin Herbert, up until really probably in the last 4 or 5 weeks, was the best quarterback in that draft. You have Keenan Allen, you have Mike Williams, you have Austin Eckler, who has the most touchdowns in the NFL over the last 2 years, and they still lose all the time. And it's being out most of the time it's coaching that loses games for them. Yeah, and that is Brandon Staley.
They never get blown out, and they never blow anybody out. So people are gonna cry about that they don't have all their players are injured, they don't got this, that, and third. So then if that was such a big problem, why are they always about to win the game and then choke it away?
They lost to the Falcons because a defensive end from the Falcons wanted to take it to the house, and he couldn't hold on to the football. Otherwise, the Falcons beat them in that game, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so stop giving them excuses. That kills me. That's what makes me want to hate teams. The excuses that the media and the closet fans all want to no excuses. They're always in it all the time. And Justin Herbert can't put on the Superman cape all the time.
And this has been going on way before Brandon Staley. Anthony Lynn, when he was there, coached him out of the games. That's why he got fired. He's like, but he won 12-4 in 2018. Took him to the playoffs. Yeah, but after that, he was coaching him out of the games. A lot of boneheaded decisions. So he's like, it's basically the front office.
And people hate Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Who he played for.
And it's like, listen, the front office is holding them back, honestly speaking. Let's be honest. Week 18 last season, what he did in that Sunday Night Football game
against the Raiders
was a fireable offense.
I agree with you.
If I was a competent owner, because Alex Span is not competent at all. If I was a competent owner of the Chargers, that's a fireable offense to me. You're fired. All you have to do is take the tie, you make the playoffs. But because you wanted to be dumb and basically insult them in their faces, but not even trying. I mean, you may not have tried to do it, but they took it as a sign of disrespect. You know what? Fuck it. Now you're out of here. Yeah. Because you want to be dumb.
Yeah.
So it's going to continue. Honestly, I feel bad for Justin Herbert because he deserves better.
He does. And here's the thing: is you got to pay him, right? You got to extend him because he's the face of your franchise. And it's funny that excuse me that you bring up that game because Bobby and I were watching that game in my living room, and that play happens, right? And that drive goes down that way. And I looked at Bobby and I said, "Are the Raiders going to beat the Chargers tonight?" And he's like, "After shit like that, yeah, they've lost the game already. It's too late." And you're right. You take the tie, you're in.
I'll never forget that. That's one of
you were handed the gift.
The same things I've ever watched.
You were handed the gift of the Colts losing to the Jaguars. All you had to do,
they got their ass beat.
All they had to do was walk. They walk it. It's a tortoise and the hare game for the Chargers. You get too confident. You think that you can, run your shit, and then you just don't. It just doesn't work. And unfortunately, I don't say this often, or I'll never say it ever again. A special teams coach outcoached a head coach, right? Because the Raiders head coach last year after Gruden was fired was their special teams coach. So, I agree with you, man. I've never seen a head coach get as many opportunities to fail as he has in the NFL. At least in today's game. I think
it's his last. It should be his last season coaching for the Chargers. I don't know how he's still there, but so they got the Dolphins, the Titans, the Colts, the Rams, and the Broncos. They've got a fairly easy schedule, all things considered.
They have the easiest walk in.
Yeah, I don't think they beat the Dolphins this weekend, but the Titans, the Colts, the Rams, and the Broncos. Those are 4 games that they have a solid chance. On paper, they should have a great chance to win those games. Now, will they? Who knows? So,
do you know what would be so ironic? And the cherry on top of the ice cream, the Chargers missed the playoffs, losing to the Broncos in Week 18.
I'm almost ready to bet. I knew you were going to say that.
That would be the cherry on top of a shit Sunday.
Is that Denver?
I'm telling you right now, the line on that.
I honestly see that happening. You see that happening. The Daniel Hackett. At the end of the day, it's a game where both coaches are going to get fired at the end of the year. Both are going to get fired at the end of the year. But to lose because the Broncos are complete dog shit. The offense is complete dog shit. To have a game-winning drive, 6-6,
and Russell Wilson throws his 13th touchdown to get more touchdowns than bathrooms in his house. That's how it is.
I can totally see that happening. But they're not making the playoffs.
It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched to believe that either, because obviously we just talked about the Broncos. Right now, the Broncos have the best defense in the AFC across all the categories.
They have
points per game,
wasted that defense this season. Absolutely wasted it.
And you're talking about an offense that they have to put up so many points to win because they give up so many points, right? We watched them against the Browns. They almost lost to the Browns because they couldn't stop the Browns from scoring. And the Browns handed them the game back with a turnover late in the game. So, I don't think the Chargers have the juice. I'm with you, Trevor. I think it's Brandon Staley's last year. And you got to just even here's the thing, though. I think even if they make the playoffs, I still think he gets fired. I really, really do. Because you can't – that culture is so bad. Because he's not a – he shows me a lot. He's not really a player coach, right? He's not a guy that you see people on the sidelines that, like a Kyle Shanahan or a Mark McDaniels, because they're in a Kyle Shanahan and Brandon Staley are in a similar age range where you see him connecting with his players. And that's so important in today's game to be able to get on the sideline and get one-on-one with a guy that's having a bad game or whatever and hype him up. And you don't ever see him. He never speaks to Justin Herbert, ever, at all. They're never talking to each other on the sideline. Anytime they show Brandon Staley on the sideline, it is the long snapper behind him or another coach. That's
He's
it.
like by himself. Oh, seriously, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's
McDaniel and Tua, they look like best friends on the sideline.
yeah, I think that's a big part of it, guys. I think culture is really important in the NFL. I think that's why Mike Tomlin's continued to have so much success in the NFL, because people will literally run through a brick wall for the guy or do whatever they got to do to win. And you have to have that with today's football player, because the game is reliant on these guys having the most confidence on the field and making the big play, because that's how football is played now. It's played off the it's the chip big play. I got to dap me up, get me back on the field, and I'm going to throw for another 300. Right? We've seen Jalen Hurts as a prime example of that. Doug Sirianni's the best coach that he could have, because Jalen Hurts needs confidence to win.
Right, and I appreciate saying that about Tomlin, because I don't think that's something he gets enough credit for. And when he was hired back in 2006, 2007, right after Cowher retired, Steelers Nation was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Some coordinator from Minnesota coming in, like, "What are you hiring this guy for? He has no experience." And then obviously the next decade and a half has been a telling tale of why they brought this guy in. He's great with the players, like you said, and just kind of before his time when coaches were, more from that old school mentality where, they're there to win football games. They can give two fucks about you. I think, Tomlin and, Marvin Lewis, guys like that were kind of ahead of their time when it comes to that. So, yeah, I like that observation, Todd.
Thanks, man.
Oh.
That's the only compliment I'll ever give Mike Tomlin ever.
I know.
Is that he's a good player coach. I have nothing else good to say about him.
I'll take it where I can get it.
I've got an alert that Devontae Adams just mossed Ramsey, so they might become a massacre soon. I don't know what's happening that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So speaking of that, I love that you mentioned Tomlin, because we're about to talk about that very team in a minute. But before we do that, let's rapid fire. Are the Chargers going to go 9-8 or less? Let's rapid fire real quick. Are they going 9-8 or less?
9-8.
9-8.
9-8. Doesn't get him in the playoffs though.
That
I think they're gonna go 8-9 and miss.
There you go. I love it. We're basically in consensus. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, same record as the Las Vegas Raiders of 5-7, but they have Baltimore with no Lamar Jackson. Go to Carolina. We never know what we're gonna get from them. They're another semi roller coaster team. Not King the Ka level like the Saints, but they're kind of safe, The Las Vegas Raiders at home, going to Baltimore for round 2. We will not know if Lamar will be there or not at this point in time. And at home against Cleveland to end the season. I kind of think that 9-8 is kind of, doable with that schedule. I'm just saying, with that defense rolling the way it's rolling, I mean,
it's gonna be tough. 3 of the last 5 games are divisional, and 2 of them are against the Ravens, who are leading the AFC North right now. Obviously, Lamar Jackson has kind of been a letdown since, I don't know, week 5 or week 6. He kind of fell off. Those first 4 weeks of the season, he was on fire, and we're like, why didn't you guys fucking pay this guy? And the season's played out, and now we're kind of like, okay. Now we kind of see where the hesitation was.
He did what Russell Wilson used to do with the MVP talk.
Right, exactly. But we're not going to see Lamar this week. I would put a large amount of money that we will see him in week 16 to wrap out the season, because I got a feeling their playoff hopes are going to be on the line. So I think he's going to be on the field prior to that. I think we take this one this week against the Ravens. I know on our show last night we were split on this. I think the Panthers, with the way our defense is playing, that one's good. The Raiders, like I said, that game's a coin flip. I think the Steelers still win that as long as they can contain Devontae. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have one of his more lackluster games if that Steelers defense plays the way that it's been playing the last couple of weeks. I think Josh Jacobs still gets his, but I don't think it's 120. I think it's maybe 60. And moving the chains that way.
Oh, that's a lot.
I mean, if we can hold him to less than 90 yards, that's a win. But and then I think week 17 against the Ravens, that's going to be a toss-up game with Lamar Jackson coming back, assumed. If he's not there, I'm taking the Steelers in that one. So, I mean, I think they have a realistic shot here to go 4-1. Where that loss is in this stretch, I don't know. I think realistically it's probably going to be 3-2, but I think they've got a chance to go 4-1 if they play their cards right.
4-1 is 9-8. 4-1 is 9-8.
It's crazy. It's crazy that we're having this
4-1 is 9-8.
conversation.
I
with
mean,
the
they
way that
could they could
started.
win all 5. They could win all
That
5.
is a
and
possibility,
go
yeah.
10-7. They
Yeah,
could
you're talking.
win it out if Pickett gets his shit together and
Yeah,
continues to play and keep getting better as each game goes, which we have seen. He's gotten better every single game. Maybe not from a statistical standpoint, but Todd, you mentioned his decision making has gotten a lot better. He's thinking on his feet, very quickly, which you have to have, in this league. So, and that comes with time too. So, even if they, they end up with a losing record this season, I still have strong hopes for next season with him at the helm.
So I think the fortunate thing for Pittsburgh is you're facing 3 of the flattest offenses in the NFL right now. And this last 5, Lamar Jackson or not, the Ravens offense doesn't move the football right now. Actually, I think they moved the football better with Tyler Huntley on the field last week than they did with Lamar Jackson, which we saw some of that last year too, even with Lamar Jackson's injury. Carolina, is this Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold is running Carolina's offense.
There's a reason why I didn't move. I know.
Yeah. So that is what it is. Carolina's just trying to vie for another top 5 spot. And then you're talking about an offense led by Deshaun Watson who, again, didn't play football for 2 years, played super rusty on Sunday. Maybe in 5 weeks from now, he's got something figured out. But, I mean, if there's anything that football has taught me is that when you don't play for a while and you come back in, it just doesn't click right away. The game's so fast and the speed's so much different that you could be the best athlete, on the field and still struggle. So, I do think, oh boy, yeah, I think they split with the Ravens, and that's it. I think they win the rest. I think this is a 9-8. I don't like saying that, but I think it's a 9-8 finish.
I fucking love to hear that because I know at the beginning. So we did an over under for wins this season, and Todd I believe was under on the Steelers. Actually,
hell yeah, it was under.
With
Mr. Trubisky is
7.5.
7.5. 7.5. Yeah, with Mr.
Over.
Trubisky as the quarterback, hell yeah, I took that over and over again because the dude's
over because I went over. I knew he was not going to last more than 4 weeks.
That's where I was wrong. Game? I was high on Trubisky coming into the season. I thought he was finally going to get a shot with a good team, and he severely let me. I was screaming week 4, like fucking bring Pickett in.
And then you got your wish.
And I did. I called it. I want to be right because I look like a fucking Nostradamus or Romostradamus. My bad. We're in football. I can say that. Romostradamus when all of that comes together. 9-8 Pittsburgh. Pickett doing his thing at the end of the season. Oh my God, I'm gonna be right. I'm excited. I like Pittsburgh. I always like Pittsburgh most of my life watching football. I actually like Pittsburgh, especially since they weren't a threat to us. So I like them.
Yeah. I've had a lot of growing up. I couldn't stand Pittsburgh.
I never understood that because they never beat us.
I could not even that. It was just that I had a lot of friends over here that was Steelers fans who took all this garbage, and I'm like, and it's like, you guys can't beat us. Everybody can't beat us. So it's like, what does it make?
We lost a lot of heartbreakers in the playoffs in New England. So I think in my lifetime, you guys still have the edge on that.
Yeah, my best friend's a Steelers fan, but he knew his place, so we never had to argue about it.
Miguel, yes.
Yeah, exactly right. But no, seriously,
I'm gonna talk shit. I know my place, but I'm gonna talk shit anyway.
That's what sports is about, right? Have some fun. Yep. I agree with Todd. I think they're gonna go 4-1, probably split with Baltimore. I think I had a good point. Lamar Jackson will come back because they have to at that point in time, and he'll, even with a broken knee, he'll come in and do whatever he has to do to try to bullcrap one to keep their playoffs hopes alive. But I think they're gonna go 4-1 also and beat everybody else. Sorry, Raiders fans, but I think Pittsburgh 9-8. I don't think they hit the playoffs though, which is the point of this whole exercise.
I agree. I think they finish 9-8. I think the playoff tiebreakers they lose out, especially the Jets. And then finishing 9-8,
which I think
they will.
That's my pick to get the 7th seed. It's gonna be Jets with a 10-7 record, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Just 10-7.
Yeah, the only way the Steelers get in is if they sweep these last 5 games, and then they're gonna have to have some help too. They're gonna have to have some help in that regard.
Yes. So that's basically what the end of the exercise is gonna be. Who you think is gonna take the 7th seed? I have Jets. Todd said he has Jets. Who do you got?
Number 7 seed.
Yeah. You want your choices? Jets,
Yeah, throw the
Chargers,
choices out there.
Raiders, Jets, Chargers, Raiders, Steelers, and who am I forgetting? Us. I mean, you're not talking about the Patriots.
No,
You
no,
forget
no.
them. Just those four.
On our show, I did say that in a very, very alternate universe, that the Patriots winning the number 7 seed could actually happen. The problem is I don't want it to happen because it's like I don't like being cock teased. Like don't give me the thing.
So there's something I have to believe.
You know what
All
I'm saying?
right.
I'm saying don't paint the picture saying that, hey, we won't make the playoffs. Hey, we make the playoffs with this shitty
Team like last year?
Like with this shitty friend
Like last year.
This offense is terrible. Like don't get me to say, oh well, there's no light at the end of the tunnel with this offense. It's terrible. Patriots is awful.
Yes, the Patriots are in what we call purgatory.
Yes. So I would rather them not make the playoffs at all.
But
so
I need the pick.
Won't get hurt.
I need the pick.
So
like
I'm gonna
we have a show on Saturday specific to talk about Patriots. You gotta do it.
The Jets. The
Jets.
Get
Thank
it.
you.
I'm gonna say the Jets right now. It may change in a couple of weeks. But I'm gonna say the Jets sneak in. Because
I think that's it's the safe spot to be though, fellas. Picking the Jets is safe,
and they're arguably the best team out of all the ones remaining anyway. So it's definitely the safest pick.
How'd that feel coming out of your mouth when you said that?
I don't really care. My team sucks. So what do I care?
No, I think it's a callback because we just talked about the Jets had the third and they had 2 first-round picks, right? If I'm not mistaken, this year.
They had 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah. And
they knocked it off the park. They're both amazing.
And there's 7
the Jets had the best draft this year. 100%.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Even Vera Tugglefree got hurt. They're all were kicking ass this year.
Yep.
All of them.
It's funny to think that they could have the offensive and defensive rookie of the year on the same team. And if they make the playoffs, that's the icing on the cake for the award.
Yeah, it's gonna be
right. Because all Garrett Wilson needed was someone who was competent enough to throw him the football. Zach Wilson couldn't do it. So Mike White realizes like, oh shit, this guy can run and he's 6'2", and I could just throw it in the air and he could catch it. Yeah, I'll just throw it to you 15 times a game. It's got to work at least 8.
Yeah. The National Football League is going to be littered with OSU receivers in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
With Smith and Jigma declaring, and then obviously that very talented Marvin Harrison Jr., which I cannot wait for him to be in a Steelers uniform.
All I hear, bro. You guys do that, so I wouldn't put it past you.
That sounds scary as hell, honestly speaking. It's like, first of all, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is just incredible. He's just
like his father.
Like his father's like, yo.
I think he's. Here's the thing. I'm gonna make a bold prediction. He's gonna have a better career than his dad.
Ooh. I just got chills. My nips just got hard, man. Oh,
he's the best. He's the best athlete. Other than Will Anderson, he's the best athlete in college football right now. I've never seen somebody be able to.
Incredible.
He catches everything that's thrown at him. If he's in bounds or not, it still gets in his hands.
Manning, though, I don't know.
No, it's just
that matters.
It does matter. You're right. It does. It does matter to have the right quarterback.
He's got to go somewhere where he's going to get the ball. So
can he pick up?
Maybe he goes to Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence finally has a number 1.
Here's the thing, though, is that I think it'll be the first time in a really long time. I think where we see a wide receiver drafted in a top 5 spot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going top 5 whenever he declares. It's not going to be this year. I think it'll be next year, though.
Next year, because he's a sophomore now. But he's a legitimate game changer. He's won Ohio State 2/3 of the games that they've won because of this sheer volume that they throw him the football.
Yeah, he's incredible.
And he just catches everything.
That's just so awesome. I love to hear that. I watch his dad. I'm gonna watch him kick ass too. Oh, I can't.
He's nuts. He's 2 inches taller than his dad was.
Is it crazy that we watched we watched all of Marvin Harrison's career, and now we're talking about his son who's getting ready to step into the league? Like, okay, now I know we're getting old.
Santi Samuel Jr. Santi saw Santi Samuel's whole career in New England and Philly and Atlanta, and now we're gonna watch his son play with the bum ass Chargers.
You're about to watch Joey Porter Jr. do it too. He's about to run it next year.
God, Joey Porter, damn.
Yeah.
Joey Porter was my dog, dude.
Oh yeah, that dude was his son's the second best defensive back in this year's draft class. We'll see him get picked on the first day too. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we got Joe Horn and JC Horn. JC Horn, even though this team sucks, he's kicking ass in Carolina. His father is great at the Saints. It's like, I'm tired of this old fest. Let's go on to week 14. Yeah, the Raiders are currently winning the game 7-0. I think
Shocker.
It's like 7 minutes. Yeah, shocking. It's a surprise, right? 7 minutes left in first. All right. So this slate is short. We got 12 games because one of them is already going on right now as we speak. So we can go through these semi quickly, depending on the significance. The more significant, the more we talk about it, obviously. Right? Common sense. All right. So usually when I do this, I go through games that doesn't matter, which is like, for example, Texans at Cowboys. Well, the Cowboys are favored at home by a whopping 17.5.
Oh, the line went up. It went up a point from last night.
Yeah, I gave Corey
Over
21
24.
points on that game.
This man took Dallas and 21 points.
Well, you put it up to 21?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave Corey 21 points, and I still said Dallas would cover.
I mean,
that's our bet for this week.
Pollard by himself should win this game and get up to 21 points. So you're actually right.
Oh my shit.
He really did it. That's going to be how much? What are the odds of that? Like plus what? Plus 500?
No, it was only like 240.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys put up 33 in the fourth quarter.
No, you're right.
Week.
And there's only four more points in the actual spread. So yeah, that's true. You're right.
It feels a little when you say it's 4 points instead of 5. It feels more reachable to me now. I don't feel as weird telling you, but I want to throw that out that this man put his balls on the table, said, "Yeah, Dallas at 21. What's the bet?" I'm like, holy shit, what an animal!
My God, don't play. See that? So we did not talk about this. Dallas is going to win the game, and they're more. Just to the point where they might even cover Bobby's spread at 21.
Next,
we don't got to talk about that. Another one for now, at least. The Chiefs and Broncos. Chiefs are favored on the road by 9 against a divisional opponent, and the over and under is 44 at Denver.
The streak continues. They're going to beat living hell out of the Broncos team.
Yeah. I don't that seems like a really high over under for that game though, because I just don't think Denver's going to put points up.
No.
I thought you meant Denver wasn't going to give up as many points because
I think Denver's defense keeps the Chiefs in check for a little bit. I mean, it's probably
exactly what I was going to say.
I think it's going to be like a 28 to 3 or 28 to 10 game. But 44, that's
an under sounds like a magnificent bet for this game.
I'm smashing the under.
Just giving you the idea for the friendly bet. Good for you. I think it's going to go under too. But Chiefs win by like almost triple the triple the thing.
It could be 31-3.
Maybe a defensive touchdown might be on play for this bets too. A little sprinkle.
Little Mrs. Dash in there. Little Mrs. Dash defense.
You know what I'm saying? A little bit, flag fumble touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever heard Frank Clark's name? He's having an okay season. Probably his best season as a Chief because he's been god awful before this. He's playing okay this season. You ever heard Chris Jones' name in a minute? Maybe Carl Loftus as the rookie come out and do something. One of those guys I'm expecting to do something. Maybe a strip sack fumble.
There you go. I just want to make a quick shout out to the Bengals that Chris Jones had 0 pressures on Joe Burrow on Sunday. 0.
That
beautiful thing.
So good. That's the part that I want to hear every media person say. That offensive line for the Bengals to me was Burrow was doing Burrow things, but that line was so magnificent.
It was perfect. They almost
trash. It's
not from week 1 to week 13. That is a completely different unit.
And that's why they're about to make a big run. Oh, my Super Bowl pick is looking lovely. All right. Anything else? Oh, another one that sucks. All right. Panthers at Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 4.5. And the over and under is 44. It's at Seattle. I think we're in consensus. Seattle's going to win this game too. But however, will they cover the spread though? Because their defense has been dog crap.
What was the spread?
It's 4.5.
4.5.
Will we see the Sam Darnold we know and love, or is he going to continue to be fake and actually throw touchdown passes like they did against Denver? 2 weeks ago. Or a week ago. I remember 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
No.
You like Seattle?
I think I like Seattle. I think Sam Darnold is going to show why the Carolina Panthers are literally in quarterback hell because no matter who they put on the center, it's going to be disastrous results. I'm going to go Seattle wins this game,
Yeah, I mean,
so killing me.
We were there was only one person on the panel last night that took the Panthers. He is not present tonight. But the rest of us were a consensus. Seattle's going to win this one. As far as the over under is concerned, I think you made a point earlier, both of you, Trevor and Juan. Just about the environment this game is going to be played in. I don't think this is a high scoring affair, gentlemen. I think this is going to be a very gritty game. It's probably going to come down to whoever has the ball last. I think this could be a 14-10 finish. Just because I don't like either of these offense. I like Seattle's offense more than I like the Panthers, but yeah, I mean, I think Seattle wins this one, but I think you're smashing the under on that.
That sounds good. My score, I like 24-14 is what I'm smelling like. A nice even half. I wouldn't be surprised if you would bet maybe a Panthers half or even half. I wouldn't put it past them either, but I think Seattle makes some adjustments and then finish it off in the second half. 24-14 sounds about nice. Yeah, the under sounds good in this one too.
Yeah, I love Kenneth Walker III though, man. I love the way he runs the football. And Carolina they really suck at covering the run defense. So I think you see him get to triple digits on the ground this week.
He was mad last week too. He was I don't know, he was screaming at Gino, he was screaming at Corny, I forget who it was, but he was screaming at somebody on the sideline last week. So he mad. So
yeah, he needs to play.
It's been a little while since he blew up too. He's been bottled up for the past few weeks. This might be a get right game for him. That's a good one. All right. Anything else? I think everything else kind of has implications. Well, not really. The Jaguars and Titans, there's no implications. Let's stop that. Jaguars at Titans. Titans favored by 4, and the over/under is 41. Jaguars on the road again. So we all with Titans?
Yeah.
Yep. And under. Hammering the under too.
Yeah.
Low-powered offense on both sides.
Yeah.
I did take the Jags this week against the Titans.
Like as a win out or a spread?
Just money line. I'm taking Jags money line.
Okay.
Just because the Jags, it's a divisional game. The Jags typically play well on the road in the division. We've seen it the last couple years against Indy, where they've just got. I mean, especially last year, during playoff time when that was how the Chargers in the Raiders game had so much impact was because the Jags went into Indy and beat them like 38-0 in that last week of the season. So, I like the Jags in this one.
All right. So we got Lone Wolf, right? Or you say you're picking Titans, right?
Yeah, Titans,
He was the Lone Wolf last night, too.
Yes. Ooh, all right. There is one more game that I don't feel like talking about. Patriots at Cardinals. Patriots favored by 2. So it's not surprising, but I'm surprised Vegas feel that way. But I think they hated Cardinals all year, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah.
And the over/under is 43.5. So it's like the one game the Patriots are most likely going to win out of the 5. We talked about this already.
I think they'd probably be under 43. I think 41, 42. Maybe just slightly under 40, 43.
Another under.
The Patriots will win this game, but I'm not going to lie to you. I would not be surprised. Because we watched the Monday Night Football game with the Bears and Patriots.
The running quarterback.
Where we can't stop running quarterbacks to save our lives if we wanted to. And who would think, as bad as the Cardinals have been, they'll get a get-right game against us, against Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised. But am I picking them, though? No. But I wouldn't be surprised, and I'll be getting more pissed off watching it.
I will tell you this. They're a bad home team, and Cliff Kingsbury and company may not be the smartest people in the world. So who's to say they're actually going to run a game plan where Kyler's actually going to run? Because they're worse at home.
They're worse at home than they are on the road.
Yeah. In the last 2 months, I haven't seen Kyler Murray run since September.
I feel like it's because to me, Cliff Kingsbury should get fired anyway. First of all, he should have been fired last season. She should have never been extended. But
I can't shake my head hard enough to agree with you.
If you can't seem
the hard rock,
if you can't
get out of my head, Juan. I was getting ready to do
that. To slow down a Matt Patricia, Joe Judge combination offense, and you feel like you can't even do anything to stop it or make it something about it, then I don't know why you're in the league. Why are you in the NFL? Like, get out. The Patriots gonna win this game, but it would not surprise me if the Patriots somehow just lay an egg and let Arizona hang around with them.
It's just dark times around Trevor right now, man.
I don't know. I know what it is because I expect the worst. Like I'm very optimistic, but I always have a part of me that says, "Yo, Murphy's Law. What can't go wrong will go wrong." And a lot of time, I'm right. Unfortunately,
that's my feeling for the Raiders, not for this game. This game, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, like I said, I should have a good time, just drink a couple of beers. I'm on a 5. I'm off work for the next 5 days. So I should.
Oh, you're gonna get hammered, aren't you?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn right. So yeah, I'm going to New England win this game. Under 43 points. They should. Yeah, 3 points. You should cover that too. Yeah, come on. Yeah.
So, can we get to the real football games now?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Oh
it, guys.
man, that Murphy's Law joke hit me, man. I haven't heard anybody throw a Murphy Law joke around for football in a minute.
Like I said, we allow funny here. It's very encouraging. So let's start off with a kind of weaker one. Philly at Giants.
Before we get started, Baker is officially in for the Rams.
I knew it. I called it before the show started. I said, "Yo, he's going to play. He's going to play."
Wow.
John Wolford played one series. John Wolford played one series. They dressed
3 teams in one season.
They dressed 3 quarterbacks tonight, and they put in the guy that has practiced with them for 3 days.
Well,
what are they playing for? Right?
That's the story of their season up to this.
They're not playing for anything because they traded all their picks next year away too.
Where's their pick of Detroit?
Yeah. So next year they have 2, 3, 6, and 6. Those are their picks next year.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Yeah, they're playing good for Detroit, so Detroit can have a top 3 pick.
Yeah, I can't.
Like whoever's the top quarterback or whatever.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, Juan. I thought you were going to put this Eagles Giants game, in one of the ones that we weren't going to talk about, but
that's why I put this one first because it's kind of borderline. Because the Giants need this game, so there's something in the air.
The Eagles. I mean, AJ Brown. Todd mentioned it last night. AJ Brown literally got somebody fired last week.
That literally happened.
That literally happened.
He got a general manager fired.
Yeah,
just by playing football.
Rightfully so, because
for sure.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Titans brass had that game circle saying, "All right, sorry, motherfucker. If this man goes on kills us, and he did, and then got their asses kicked, you're out of here."
They're too damn cheap to pay him. They should have.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hilarious.
The man
we had a hearty laugh about this last.
It's hilarious. I mean, a professional athlete got a dude fired from his job because he just made one the most egregious mistake of the draft free agency trade time.
I mean, when you guys were watching the draft, I mean, we were all watching it together. We were like, what the, like, how? Like, this kid's, I mean, we know he had a down year last year, but he was hurt. He was hurt the whole season. And then he's had Ryan Tannehill thrown to him. So now he's finally got a good quarterback tossing him the ball, and you're seeing what he's capable of. And it's like, maybe you guys shouldn't have given Tannehill all that money after Derrick Henry carried him to the freaking playoffs. You know what I mean?
If you would have seen Mike Vrabel's face in the draft night,
it was hilarious.
How visibly upset he was. Like he was going to cry.
He walked out. He walked out, walked back in.
Like, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. If I was Amy Adams, I would have fired him. I would have fired him right then and there just for doing that. But I think she was like, you know what, I'm going to suck up this game. If he kills us, you're fired. And get him out of there.
Waited for it. That's funny.
Hilarious.
So I guess y'all want to talk about the Philly game then. So I guess we'll just skip it. We all got Philly. We all keeping their spreads too, or
what's the over under on this one?
It is 44.5.
Ooh.
I'm hitting the over. I'm hitting the over on that.
I think Philly might just cover it on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game. I think this game goes like 31-17. Or maybe even 38 to I don't know 13.
Yeah, I think this game goes similar to when they play Dallas Thanksgiving. They'll keep it a little bit tough because that's what they do. But once halftime hits, that secondary is going to fold, and AJ Brown and
you can only slow down that Eagles offense for so long right now. There's just too much, right? Because even if you slow AJ Brown down, then you got to slow Devonta Smith down, then you got to slow Miles Sanders down, then you got to slow Jalen Hurts down. Because he could pop off for 80 on the ground, and he's not afraid to do it either. So I love it, man. I think Philadelphia. I mean, I hate the fan base. I think Philadelphia fans are probably the worst community of professional sports fans in terms of just how awful they are to be around during a game where they play. So I went to a Cubs game when they played the Phillies at Wrigley Field, and I'm completely neutral, right? I'm a Reds fan. I'm just there to go to Wrigley, and I'm wearing a like a red and blue jacket, right, or like a red jacket, and it didn't have anything on it really. And this Philly fan comes up to me and he goes, "Why don't you go fuck yourself?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I don't know you."
That can't happen to me. He's getting put to sleep instantly.
Bro,
I'm from New York. We don't do that in New York.
I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? Get arrested in Chicago? Call my.
That's probably what happened to me. I'm not gonna lie. I have
It was crazy.
You never told me that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Let you go in like 2 hours. It's not a big deal.
That's true.
Let's go 2 hours.
Oh, he would have got knocked out.
Cook County's crowded.
Damn. Well, anyway, I'd probably get away with it. Now, I definitely would have put him to sleep. Anyway, I want to save this one. This one is a huge one. So let's go. We talked a little bit about this game earlier. The Ravens and Steelers. Steelers are favored at home by 2. The over and under is 37. 37. I think
that's a pretty even. That's a pretty even line. You know, they're favoring the home team by 2. I would say that's just basically a 0 points there. At the end of the day, as far as the favorite's concerned. Yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers, as long as they can contain, on defense, just make sure that they're sticking to their guns and doing what's been successful, getting that pass rush in there. As long as TJ Watt stays in this game, I mean, they're 3-1 since he's been back. I mean, their record this season with him in the lineup is 4-1. And then the games without him, they've lost every single game but one. So it just goes to show you how important this man is. That's why he won the MVP last year on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Steelers win this one. You said the over-under was 37. That's a close one. That's a close one. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points in this game, but 37 is not a lot of points between two teams. So, I think it's a risk either way if you take the over or the under here. If I was a betting man, I'm probably hitting the under on this.
Aren't you a betting man?
I am. So I'm going to hit the under. I'm gonna hit the under on this.
There we go.
I think this is going to be like a 17-14 game.
That's exactly what I think too.
At 31 points, I think is maybe the max. 31-35. With maybe a field goal, one or the other way. But I don't see them scoring more than 37 points collectively.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a team that scored 10 points against the Ravens, 10 points against the Broncos, 27 against the Jags, and 13 against the Panthers in the last 3 weeks. Even with how much they struggle with Lamar Jackson on the field, and I still think Huntley moves the ball better. We said it, the Steelers' biggest area of opportunity on defense is the secondary, and you don't really have to get them very involved in this game that much, right? Because you just have to slow down Mark Andrews. That's really right now because they really don't have, other than Mark Andrews and Duvernay, they don't really have any offensive weapons right now, unless J.K. Dobbins is back. I don't know if he's back or not yet, but I think he might be out for the season, right?
Yeah,
so
he's out.
Yeah, so I just don't think that there's any world where Baltimore even puts up 13 points against the Steelers. That's why I think it's the under. Is that I don't know.
Andrews has been banged up for the last month and a half anyway. Still hurt.
Right.
So
he's been their only option, so he's had to play. I feel bad for Mark Andrews because he's a hell of a tight end. He's a hell of an athlete, but you can't have your tight end be your number one option on offense. That's just not how it works.
Unless you're Travis Kelce.
Unless you're Travis Kelce, that's different.
Yeah, no, that's why I picked the Steelers. Baltimore can't put points on the board, and they've done everything right to get their defense better. Obviously, going out and getting Roquan Smith, that makes you a hell of a lot better.
You did pick the Ravens last night, sir.
I did pick the Ravens last night, but that's only based on. I'm doing it based on odds in our Pick'em league, though, right? Because I need to gain games against Bobby to get back into the lead, and I had to follow majority to keep him in the minority. That was a strategery move, and you just exposed me. So thank you for that. You boys trying to win, but no, I think I just don't. I'm hammering the under too. I don't even know if this game gets to 30 points total.
Yeah. It's going to be a low score. It's going to be an AFC North, just absolute, just shit show. It's going to be a defensive driven game. So if you like offense, I wouldn't watch it.
Well, speaking of AFC North showdowns, we have the second meeting of Cleveland going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by 5.5. That just went down because it was 6 almost the whole week. And the over and under is 46. Last time they met, it was a Monday Night Massacre.
It was rough.
But guess who's healthy for the most part? Cincinnati this time.
Jamar Chase.
Part of I'm picking Cincinnati to win this game. Obviously, I feel like they're hot right now. Deshaun Watson's too rusty. They've played 2 years. Deion played against a really healthy Cincinnati Bengals team. It's gonna be very overwhelming for him, especially coming back from that. And he didn't play
overwhelming against Houston. So imagine.
So that's what's going to be wanted. But then again, I don't know. Just for a reason, the Cleveland Browns just somehow in a way just to beat the hell out of Cincinnati for the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know why. It's just they figured, hey, why not? But
it's like Mahomes against the Bengals.
Like it's just ridiculous to me. So I'm gonna go with Cincinnati to win this game. They should win. I'm gonna say 10 point lead to win.
So they're going to cover the 5.5 point spread.
Yes, they are.
I love how you talked about how it's going to be. It feels close. Then you just said they can win by 10 points. Nice.
10 points isn't that bad.
I mean, compared to you saying they can't beat this team at all. I don't know.
Listen, they're gonna find a way. Listen, you gotta do something. Way. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I don't understand. Like have you noticed? Like have you noticed? Like Cleveland just like I said, Cleveland have nothing to play for. Somehow, hey, we're nothing to play for. We're gonna beat the shit out of the Bengals. Why the hell? Why not?
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been watching it the last 3 years.
So
yeah,
I've watched it. I watched this happen.
Yeah, I mean, so Aaron made a point last night because so our panel is split between 3 teams in the AFC North. We have 2 Bengals fans, a Browns fan, and a Steelers fan. And the comparison,
take them out, huh? No Ravens.
No Ravens. Yeah, I don't think we could ever
fuck the Ravens
in our bones even add somebody to the show that was a Ravens fan. I don't care who it is, but no, I mean, it's kind of like Mahomes against Cincinnati, where Mahomes hasn't beat Cincinnati, in the last 3 times that he's played them this year. Whether it was at the beginning of the year in January, the regular season playoffs, and then obviously this matchup they just had last week. But the same thing goes for Cincinnati and Cleveland. Joe Burrow has never beaten the Cleveland Browns, never in his entirety of his career in the NFL. He's never beaten the Browns.
0-3.
I think that streak ends this week. I think this game is going to hit the over. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I love the Bengals defense, but with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, those are 2 very tough guys to contain. I think the Bengals give Deshaun Watson a hard time. This is not a good game for him to bounce back for his second week, especially with him just absolutely murdering some shoestrings last week. So I think if the Browns are going to be successful, they're going to have to get it done on the ground. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Bengals win this game. It's going to be 31-28 Cincinnati, and they cover the over.
It's a top 10 rush defense and a top 10 pass defense in Cincinnati right now. I want to make that point before I get started here, because I think that you're right. I think in order for Cleveland to win this game, they do have to run the ball. And Nick Chubb just seems to have a way to beat Cincinnati on the ground. It's all
going to be a close game.
It's all a part of this weird paradigm shift between Cincinnati and Cleveland, where it doesn't make sense that they're losing to that Cincinnati is losing to them, but yet they get in this weird pocket where Cincinnati loses to Cleveland every single time they play them, and Cleveland plays their 2 best games of the year against Cincinnati. So I think you're going to watch Nick Chubb play well. But after watching Deshaun Watson last week, if I have a strategy going into this game, it's just to keep him in the pocket, force him to throw the ball.
Yep.
That's it. If you can keep him in the pocket and make him throw the ball, he's going to struggle. Because the
Bengals are going to create turnovers, and then that's going to lead to points.
That's the big thing, is that Houston missed on 3 turnovers last week that they should have had against Deshaun, all 3 on their side of the field, and they did not catch the ball in the air. That killed them. And Cincinnati's not going to do that. Logan Wilson's one of the better deflecting linebackers in the NFL in terms of grabbing interceptions. Von Bell's a top 3 safety in terms of grabbing interceptions in the differential. So I think this is where the shift changes. Trevor, I actually said the same thing you did. I do think the Bengals win by 10. I actually went down the same rabbit hole you did where I said it was going to be a crazy game and it could go either way. And then I said the Bengals would win by 10. So I'm glad I'm not alone on this walk.
That's why you laugh so hard. All right.
As I said the same exact thing.
I think it's not going to be that close. I'm going with the hot hand and Bengals and winning by about maybe 2 scores, a little bit more. With Deshaun Watson, I feel like that killed the whole mojo because Jacoby Brissett wasn't that bad in this team. He actually really wasn't that bad.
He killed the Bengals.
He did kill the Bengals, and there was definitely a matchup problem there. But I don't know, man. I just got this. This is no football analysis whatsoever. This is gut. My gut tells me I don't think there's much to worry about in this game, man. I think Bengals will be all right. I'm not gonna go as far to say what they did to the Panthers when they beat them to being atheists. Not that bad, but I think Bengals be a little comfortable in this game. Like, you know what? Y'all beating us a little bit too much. You're gonna start cracking their knuckles, crack their necks. Like, yeah, it's go time. And then they're gonna win like what? Let me go 31-17. I'm gonna go 31-17.
I'm here for
that. You're hitting the over on this too?
Yep. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Screw it. Why not? All right, 4 more.
I think that's a good call.
All right. This doesn't have that much to do with playoff implications, but it's a start to possibly being one. The Vikings and the Detroit Lions at home. They're only 2 games behind the 7th seed. This is going to be a great football game. This right here is outside of the AFC North matchups this week. This is the game to watch at 1:00. 100%. This is going to be a freaking great game. So Lions we were split last night by 2. Lions are favored by 2, and the over is 51.5. God, you know what the crazy thing is? That's not a crazy line for the over/under either, because both of these teams can put up points. I think they went over the last time they played, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Right? Yeah, they did.
I mean, it was a complete shootout. I mean, this is not going to be a defensive game. So if you love offense, here's your game. This is the one you want to turn on Sunday. We were split last night on this. Todd and I, we took the Lions. One of the big things that we talked about last night was the fact that the Vikings are what? They're 10-2 or 9-3.
10-2.
10-2. They're 10-2, and they're still not favored in this game. Still not favored.
Point differential still might be less than 10 in the season.
It is exactly 10. Corey gave that stat last night. It is exactly 10.
Yeah, it is exactly 10. Obviously, they had that blowout loss to the Cowboys, and they've had some big outliers this season. But man, you gotta love what Dan Campbell and the Lions are doing right now, man. That is such an exciting team to watch. That running game is dynamic. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that guy's unbelievable. And I think if he even had a better quarterback than Jared Goff's not having a bad season. But I think if he had an even better quarterback, I think he would be even more electric. But on the other side of that ball, you've got the best receiver in the game right now, Justin Jefferson, arguably. And just the amazing things that he's able to do week in and week out really carries that offense. Kirk Cousins he's a solid quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. We can say that he's led them to 10-2. But I like the Lions in this one at home. This is a game they need to win if they want to make a playoff run. So I got the Lions here, and I'm absolutely hammering the over on this. This game's going to be like 38-35. I think you could potentially see 70 total points in this game.
Yeah, look, and I think the point I made last night, and I don't know how much of an impact he has, obviously, because he's a rookie, but Jameson Williams will play on Sunday. That means something to this offense for Detroit. It at least creates another target for Jared Goff that's sure-handed, speed, and then next-level speed, right, and getting into the open field. Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift have complemented each other very well. I said at the beginning, Jamal Williams has 14 touchdowns. That's more than he's had in his entire time in Green Bay. He's finally getting used right. Not a lot of defense in this game, but there's just something about the Lions playing at Ford Field in a division matchup that like the juice is just flowing their way. And it's similar to how you said you just had the gut feeling. That was how I picked this game. It's 110% gut because I love Dan Campbell. I love what he's done for the franchise. I love what he's done for the locker room in Detroit. And I mean, it's another dude that you would just run through a brick wall for because he's just so committed to the players. And I think that that's a big part of the paradigm shift for them too.
Same here. I'm going with Detroit as well.
Let's get it. I love it.
I'm going with Detroit
Love
as well. Again, Minnesota, they're like I said, they're finding ways to win games. Despite how you want to call it in a certain way.
Lucky?
Yeah, lucky. How they've gotten the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
And
You
even
mean the entire season?
yes, it was to Buffalo. The Buffalo game, before the Buffalo game, when they played Buffalo, I was not sold on them at all. I'm like, all right, these guys are. It's only a matter of time before they get to the playoffs, and then they pretty much show us what we really are. But that Buffalo game made me look at them a little differently until they played New England. Then it's like, all right, yeah, this game should have lost, but whatever. But it's going back to being lucky again. I think the Lions playing Detroit is just it's like a electric type of feelings for the crowd, especially the divisional game. And remember, last year they lost in Detroit last year too on craziness as well.
Yeah, their first win.
So
Last year was
so
good.
Sure did.
It could very much happen again, and I think it will. I'm more of like a balanced type of football fan. As far as like I like seeing a little bit of defense, a little bit of offense, like bad balance. Not too much of these college football 70-71. I hate it. I hate the high scoring games, but 40-42 doesn't sound too bad. 42-41 doesn't sound too bad. I think I'm going with Detroit to win the game. This point spread is 2, right?
Hmm.
I can see it happen. They win by 3.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to win by 2. So
Like a 43-40 game or 38-35
that's a lot.
game.
Jeez, he said 80s. Lord.
Yeah, so it can happen. Yeah, so
Yeah, I love Detroit too. That was probably the easiest bet of the entire week to me. This Detroit team is really becoming something. They should be damn near undefeated in the last 5 games or so. That Buffalo game, they should have won at Thanksgiving. Oh my God.
So many heartbreakers.
Yes. Oh, Detroit, man. But this is one of the lesser Kirk Cousins seasons we've seen in a while. He's usually a little bit more impactful in games, even though we make fun of him for being sucky at, prime time. That still hasn't changed. But in terms of statistics, in terms of efficiency, he's actually one of those lower ones of the season. Probably maybe one of the lowest since when he was back in the Redskins, if I'm not mistaken. So he actually isn't that good this season. Is like you said, is Justin Jefferson doing Justin Jefferson things and being the best player in the team. The Lions are actually 2 games behind 7th seed, and they have a tiebreaker owned against the Giants, who's I believe the 6th seed right now with a 7-4-1 record. So they have to play their asses off, and their playoffs basically start. Well, I mean, probably started a few weeks ago, but it definitely started by now. They have to basically win out. I don't feel like bringing up their schedule. If they win, we'll talk about it in the shows, whatever. But they need this game, and I think they're going to play like it, and I have a feeling that this crowd is going to be more electric than we have ever seen them.
Yeah.
That dome is going to be loud.
It'll be a playoff environment this weekend.
Yes, 100%. And the Vikings got to drop one. They got to drop another one. Drop one. Like, stop. Stop bullcrapping on your wins. You got to drop one.
Yeah, and it happens in your division, right? Especially on the road.
Yes.
This is the one for them to lose.
This is it. Yeah, I 100% agree. This is it. Detroit with a 2. Then it's not even a 3-point spread. It's 2. Come on. I'll bet that all day long.
Yeah, the juice is telling you to take it.
100%, which is usually a bad thing if they're edging you on to something. They usually want to trap you like a web, but no, I think this one, they're giving it to us. I really have a good feeling about this game. Okay.
I cannot wait for January and gambling to be legal in Ohio.
Yeah, we get to start betting January 1st.
Oh, damn!
I gotta talk to my uncle in Indiana if I want to make a bet.
Oh, that's
January 1st. We can start doing we can get on FanDuel and start doing our parlays and shit.
That was a year ago.
That was a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
the last week of the season. Yeah.
We've got less than 30 days, and I am absolutely amped
Oh yeah, please take it. You're gonna get so many promos and stuff. Take advantage, please.
I'm taking them all. You run every single one
Well,
of them.
there's like free $200 like as soon as we sign up. So
Yeah. What my wife doesn't know is that she's going to be doing it too. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to
I'm signing my girlfriend up. I'm signing her sister up. I'm gonna have 3 different accounts that I'm gambling on. So
Yep.
yeah, sure.
Oh, please do. All right, let's get this one out the way. This one is a little tricky. Buccaneers at 49ers. 49ers are only favored by 3.5 at home, which is very interesting. And the over-under is 37 also, which is most likely. Unless the 49ers beat the crap out of Tom Brady. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's a chance, so we'll see. But the over-under is only 37 in this game.
Yeah, it's got to be a thin line because of Brock Purdy being the quarterback, right? That's the only reason why. Because all San Francisco is going to do is just put pressure on Tom Brady and try to keep him. And you force him out of the pocket, I don't know if they even score.
It's gonna be a long week for Tom Brady. It's gonna be a long week for Tom Brady.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hard game. This is probably the worst game of the year for him.
You guys want to hear a fun fact?
Yes, always.
Tom Brady's been playing professional football longer than Brock Purdy has been on this planet.
I believe it.
Yeah, you're right. I think they put that. I've seen it.
Yeah. I saw that this week, and I'm like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, I think the over/under is actually in a really good spot because I don't know if we're going to see a lot of scoring from the Buccaneers this week. We saw last week against the Saints, they struggled up until like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and somehow pulled out 2 touchdowns to win the game 17-16. So I mean, that whole game you were just like, yeah, okay, this is the Tom Brady we've seen this season. And then what do you know? We see the Tom Brady of old come back for 2 minutes and somehow they win. But I don't think you can do that against this defense. The 49ers defense is at a much higher caliber than the Saints defense could ever dream of being at this point. I think this is absolute bloodbath for the Buccaneers this week. I think the 49ers roll easy. I think this is probably going to be a very, very managed game from Shanahan. I don't see the 49ers putting up a lot of points, but I don't see the Buccaneers scoring a lot of points. I think you're going to see like a 17-3 or a 21-3 spread there. I'm hammering the under on this game for sure. But I still think that the Niners win handily.
I wonder what the totals for points will be for Tampa in this game. Maybe that's something to bet on too, especially if it's more than like 10 or more than like something like that. Maybe if they put like 14 under, it sounds great on that one.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm definitely with you guys there, and I think 49ers going to cover the spread too. It's just when they usually put an interesting spread like that, I just wonder, do they have too much respect for Brady or they smell something? Because Vegas always have those games once or twice a week. They'll smell something. The public kills 49ers. All of a sudden, the 49ers fall flat in their ass, and Tampa wins 16-14. You know what I mean?
You're right, though.
Yeah. That's why has to be a little hesitant about this game, but let's use the football logic. The 49ers are a completely better team in basically every facet. We're going to go with the 49ers. They did have a nice win last week, though. Sometimes teams cool down a bit. So I love your point on the under, and I love the point on 49ers. Maybe chilling a bit. Maybe we'll scoring only 20. But 20 should be enough to beat this Tampa team because most of the time it is enough to beat this Tampa team. They don't score at all. No. So should be fine. Nick Bosa,
I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think Tampa scored over 20 points in the last 5 weeks. They've maybe done it twice all season. If I'm right, I'm actually going to look that up.
Yeah.
1, 2.
I'm gonna go there.
You're picking Tampa, aren't you?
I'm picking Tampa Bay.
Oh, this dude right here.
I'm picking Tampa Bay. Yes, I am.
I've seen it right in your damn face.
Yes. This is the game that Tom Brady was showing them. Listen, we're not out of it yet, and it's like
I'm gonna tell you this: if that happens, we're gonna lose a friendly bet to Raul, right? Because he picked Tampa plus 3.5 in a friendly bet. We're gonna have to buy him beer at this rate.
Screw it.
I'm just letting you know. We better pray that it doesn't happen.
Only gonna buy him beer. Yeah, that's a beer. Goddamn. Yeah, I'm gonna Tampa Bay to win this game. I feel like with everything going on, but even though again this should be even though Tampa has not played well all year, but I think them having Brock Purdy under center, even though they probably will limit him as much. I think that Tom Brady and the Bucs will find a way to win this game. Honestly, I truly.
I was
believe
gonna
it.
ask, do you think there'd be like him coming home to California factor? But I forget he played football for the entire millennia. He's been there 1,000 times. Maybe it won't be there this time.
Nah, it won't be there. And
Got to stop at some point in time.
Right? Like,
yeah. So I think I'm going Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. That seemed like.
so are you're the lone wolf?
Yeah, I am the lone wolf today. Yes.
You know, it's not far fetched, man. You know, there's been times in this season where I've counted Brady out and I've been right, and there's times I've counted him out and I've been wrong.
Yeah, he burned me on Monday. I thought the
Yeah.
Saints was winning. I was comfortable. Then I went to sleep, woke up, boom, he won. I'm like, hello, but
like what? What? I go to sleep and they're up 2 touchdowns, and I wake up and they won by a point. What happened?
Thanks, Mark Ingram.
That's literally what happened. But again, me out of all people should know what that man is capable of.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I was surprised.
Can't count him out, but he hasn't, like, a lot of the games that he's come back and won like that have been against subpar defenses.
Yeah.
And the Niners just aren't that. You know, they've got a good defense. You know, the Bosa brothers have just some of the best genetics on the planet. You know, obviously one is playing for the Chargers and one is with the Niners, but man, those guys are unbelievable.
100% are. All right, 2 more. All have to do with the AFC East. So we're gonna go with the Sunday night game first. Dolphins at Chargers. Dolphins are favored on the road by 3 over and under 52.5.
I'm gonna go with.
Damn, you went quick with it. All right,
Miami.
go ahead.
Now again, the Chargers' run defense is one of the worst in the league, and I know that the Dolphins have struggled running the football. If you can't run the football and these guys, I don't know what to tell you.
They did it against Cleveland.
I don't know what to tell you. You gotta do something. I think, and then it's like this falls into my Brandon Steele gets fired. Eventually, this is going to be one of the games, especially on prime time. Again, you get flexed into another prime time game where you completely shit the bed and have in your face and wonder why you got on prime time. I personally don't want to see this game because I can't stand watching the Chargers. But I'm gonna go Miami win the game to win this game. What's the points right on this game?
There's 3. They're favored by 3.
Yeah,
as in Miami.
Yeah, they'll cover that easily.
I agree.
1.5.
It's 3 on the road.
No, I meant the over under.
Oh no, I'm sorry. 52.5.
52.5.
Oh, I'm taking that over too.
You know,
on a prime time game. Prime time games are kind of low. You sure?
I'm actually smashing I'm taking Miami. I'm smashing the under on this. I don't think the Chargers get anything going. I think this is a 31 to 14 kind of football game right here
for Miami.
Yeah, I don't see the Chargers getting a lot going this week. I got the Dolphins.
I have the Dolphins too. The Chargers find a way to keep it close to break their fans' hearts, though. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be closer than everybody thinks. I'm gonna go with an under on this also. I'm gonna go with 24-20 Miami barely hitting the spread. Chargers always find a way. They don't get blown out. Right. And then everybody, and the whole world. I mean, they got no fans, so who's really crying about them? But theoretically,
when you said they're going to break their fans' hearts, I'm like,
who? Right?
Those 4 people that bought tickets are going to be absolutely devastated.
But all you see is Dolphin green all over the damn all over the stadium.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with a close one, but Miami's going to win this game and look better, way better than they did on that Sunday because it's hard not to.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. Final game. Huge. Jets at Bills. Bills favored by 10. Over and under 43 at Buffalo.
I'm taking the Jets on the points. They're not gonna lose. I feel like this team is not gonna allow themselves to get pushed around by Buffalo. I do think that Mike White does play well, but they lose. And which is kind of what, if you're a Jet fan, you're like, okay, fine. We hang on with the Bills. We beat them the first time, in spite of Zach Wilson. Let's be honest here. But if Mike White can play decent to really good against Buffalo, one of the cream of the crop of the AFC, then the cream of the crop of the AFC, then the sky's the limit for this Jet team. Because like I said, they are in a lot of these games too.
I'm probably gonna see that too. Right there, cream of the crop.
Yeah, so
cream of the crop.
I think Buffalo will win this game. I don't think they'll cover the point spread. I think point plus
Yeah,
10,
10 is kind of
is
savage.
kind of high. And the over under is how much you said?
40. I think it's 43. I'll check right now for you.
You say 41 and a half?
I'm gonna check right now.
Okay.
You can keep talking. Yeah, here's 43. I'm looking at FanDuel real quick. Don't look at another website.
I'm not entirely sure about the over under.
Now that I probably stay away from.
If anything,
I'll go. Yeah, it's 43 and a half of FanDuel.
43 to that half a point, man.
Yeah, I know. They love it.
I hate it.
They want this. They
They-
want you to
yeah,
get
they-
so much money.
100% was that about. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever see a half point, just absolutely stay away from it. But there's always going to be an upset in the 1 o'clock slot on a Sunday. I don't think it's here.
Me neither.
I
I want to so bad.
Don't get me wrong. Seeing the Jets beat the Bills, and sweep the season series would be an incredible thing to see. But I don't see it. I know the Bills are a little banged up on defense. And obviously I'm high on the Jets defense. I love Sauce. I love what he's done this season. If he's not the, defensive rookie of the year, then something's wrong. But I think this is a redemption game for Josh Allen. I'm absolutely smashing the over on this. I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. I think the Jets, I think the Bills, I don't think they cover the spread. I think they win by maybe a touchdown. 10 points is lofty for this one with it being a divisional matchup. I will take the Bills 31-24 in this matchup.
Man, if you're going to play the Bills, this is the time, right? Banged up defense.
Yeah.
No Von Miller. Obviously, no Micah Hyde. Kyrie Elam still banged up. So there's certainly injuries on that side of the ball, but man, this is probably one of the better matchups for them to play with a banged up defense. Because although the Jets can, Mike White could throw for 300 yards, you're probably going to get the ball back at least 2 times from him, probably more. And if Buffalo has done anything all year, it's their ability to capitalize on turnovers and put points on the board. That's what's won them a lot of their close games, is their ability to get short field advantage and at least put a 3 on the board. Yeah, this is redemption for Buffalo. This is their opportunity to kind of put their sword in the AFC East and show that they need to be that number 1 overall seed. I love what New York's done. I said it when we talked about the playoff picture. This is their one that they lose, but I like the idea of them going down, with a big fight. But I just don't see it. There's too much. Buffalo fans will not allow the Jets to stay in this game. This is a prime example of a fan base taking a team out of a game. This is the one, because Bills Mafia is just. This is the team they're hungriest against this year, right? Like, this is the one game where you had them beat and you just gave it up to them. So,
I want to know how many fans go to get arrested before the game starts. That's
at least 100 tables broken.
That's the stat. That's the stat I really want to know this weekend.
No, you need to know how many tables are in shambles before the game starts. That's how you know how rowdy the fans are going to be.
They're going to go to a WWE freaking budget on tables, right?
I'm telling you, I've been saying this for the last couple of years now, right? The Dudley boys should go to Bills Mafia for a tailgating party and just put their fans at tables. That'd be the most credible thing in the world. I'm gonna lie to you, I'll probably go there.
Sign the waiver first to make sure they don't sue nothing, and then
that would be so cool. Hell, I would go there and just get 3D through a table. That'd be incredible. I'll be super drunk when it happens though, because
hey Bubba, can you throw me to this table? Sure thing.
I would love. It'd be an honor. It'd be great.
I heard a quote from, I'm going to shout out a person we actually had in the show, Mitch from Bottom Line Review on YouTube. He said a great quote that I absolutely love that I think applies to this game because it's about Buffalo. He said, anytime in the last 2 to 3 years that Buffalo has played New England made them look better than they actually are. And I agree with that 100 billion%. If you look at the last few times they played outside of the Mother Nature game last December, they looked incredible to the point where they are just supreme Super Bowl favorites. Like, if the Bills really wanted to, they could have put up 40 last week. but they decided to develop a run game instead throughout the clock and beat the Patriots in their own game. And then every time before that, they'll put up 1,000 points. I'm not going to forget what they looked like the 3 games or so before that Patriots game. For example, in Thanksgiving when they should have lost, for example, against Cleveland, where they almost lost 2. They had to get an onside kick in that game. Or what was the week before that when they lost to Minnesota?
Yes.
When they won a fumble in their own end zone? Yes, and where Davis shouldn't have caught a ball that they called for them to get a field goal to force overtime. They should have never got that in the first place. Yeah, I'm not forgetting those 3 games. Just because you beat a team that you're going to bully for the next 15 years does not make me forget what you looked like before that. And the last time you played this team, this defense actually shut you down for 17 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you taking the Jets?
No, I'm not that crazy. With all that hype, no. I think it's going to be a lot closer. They're definitely not going to cover that 10-point spread. My score in this game is going to be 26-19. I think, again, the limit, similar to what we saw last week at Minnesota, the limitations of Mike White will be in full display here. And I do agree he will play better than he played against them last year when they absolutely curb stomped him like if they were Seth Rollins. WWE reference. Yeah. So this time with Garrett Wilson, a real number 1, who he's looking like a number 1. He's very young, so we don't technically know that. For all we know, he'll drop us all the face of the earth next year. But as of right now, he is a number 1 receiver, and that is loads better than what they had last year. And I think he's going to make a huge difference now that the quarterback's actually going to look his way. But I will give the Bills this 1 point. Tre'Davious White will more likely be playing a full game now. He almost did last week against New England. Now, with 10 days of rest, I think Tre'Davious White will be a full go to play his normal snap count, and that is going to be a fun matchup, assuming he does go up against Garrett Wilson. That'll be very fun to watch, to see if Trey White is Trey White, because before the injury, he shut down. Now, is he still shut down? That's a big test. He loses against Garrett Wilson. Mike White is going to give him his opportunities. If he loses, this is going to be an insanely close game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's as dramatic as it was last week against Minnesota. But I am going to go with the Bills. 26-19 will be my final score. Gonna be a fun one, I think. Is that over or under? Is that 45?
You said 43 and a half.
So that's over. So I guess I'm going with the over 20s. I think most of us picked that them. Yeah. So 45 over. 26-19. Bills take care of business, but it's gonna take a while. And just don't sleep. They don't take days off. Nope. This team is here. They're here to stay for at least the rest of the season. I like them covering that 10-point spread. All right.
We only got 13 games this week, but the whole day is stacked with some good football.
Some good stuff. It really is. At least, especially in the 1 o'clock hour, the 4 o'clock and but the 1 o'clock hour is looking really good. So let's update the Raiders game, shall we, before we finish off. And 13-3 Rams are in their own territory with 30 seconds left. They're not going to score nothing. So halftime, 13-3 Raiders.
Yes. That being said,
yeah.
First of all, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. This was a very, very fun.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we haven't done a 2-hour show in a long time.
We appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah, man, this is great, man. Definitely. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to all of us right now.
Every link will be in the description. If you guys have extra links, by the way, please send them to me so I can put them all in the description.
I got you.
Yes. Make sure you guys check out on Saturday night, Miami Sports Report and Sports Dynasty in the AFC East Shakedown.
Yep. And on Wednesday nights is when the Rally Towel Sports, I almost fumbled that one too, have their live shows. And again, if you want to put if you have a schedule for your podcast, for your audio onlys, please tell me. I'll put them in the description too.
Yes.
It's all about shout outs here. Let me know.
Yes. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Join the Facebook group, be a part of the conversation.
And don't forget your picks like I did.
Yes, and don't forget your picks like he did. It's a tight race in our Pick'ems league right now. It has a 3-game lead over everybody else.
Mind you, I missed a game and I'm still number 1.
Yes, so it's still a tight race in that right there. So we'll see how that goes. That being said, peace, love, and applesauce.